There is perhaps no more iconic shirt in world football than the number 7 shirt at Manchester United, which has been worn by the likes of Ray Wilkins and George Best over the years. Somewhat oddly then, for the first full season since squad numbers were introduced, Manchester United don't currently have a number 7, although one suspects they will reward a big money signing this summer with that historic number. Last week, I ranked every Liverpool striker since Fernando Torres, and that format seemed to be more popular than a simple where are they now type of video. So if there are any other videos like this in terms of ranking every X since Y, just let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to take a look at those that get the most likes. To be clear, official squad numbers were introduced in the Premier League for the 1993-94 season, and in this video, I'm going to be ranking all 8 Manchester United players to have been the club's number 7 since then. Taken into account is the player's talent, longevity, and importance to the club, but, and this is a crucial but, only whilst they were wearing that number 7 shirt. Here are my views on every Manchester United number 7 of the Premier League era. Alexis Sanchez. Getting us started, it simply has to be Manchester United's most recent number 7, Alexis Sanchez. Still contracted to the club, Sanchez is currently Inter Milan's number 7, having spent the season on loan at the San Siro from Manchester United. There were few surprises when Sanchez was handed the number 7 shirt upon his arrival at Old Trafford in January 2018, with the transfer being a significant one for the Red Devils. Jose Mourinho's men had seen off the interest of Pep Guardiola and Manchester City in order to sign Sanchez, and as a result, he didn't come cheap. In fact, he immediately became the club's and the division's highest paid player, having been among the best players in the league at Arsenal. Sanchez was never among the best players in the league at Manchester United, nor at the club. Having been such a tenacious and hungry forward in North London, Sanchez looked a shell of his former self during his 18 months in Manchester. He scored just 5 goals in 45 games, and the only way for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to offload him was to send him out on loan, with Manchester United still paying a very significant portion of his salary. Sanchez is Manchester United's worst number 7 of the Premier League era, and right now he looks like one of their worst signings of all time. Memphis Depay. Another short-term Manchester United number 7, it doesn't reflect particularly well on Manchester United's recent transfer business that the 2 worst Manchester United number 7s of the Premier League era, in my humble opinion, are the club's 2 most recent number 7s. Memphis Depay's record at Manchester United was only marginally superior to Alexis Sanchez's, as he scored 7 goals in 53 appearances, although he wasn't quite as financially ruinous as Sanchez. Depay joined Manchester United amid real excitement about his talent, off the back of a season in which he had scored 28 goals in 40 games for PSV. The inevitable comparisons with Cristiano Ronaldo were made, and the Red Devils had to see off stiff competition to sign Depay from PSV for £25 million. The wide man only spent 18 months at Old Trafford though, failing to really set the theatre of dreams alight with his performances. Depay is clearly talented, but he wasn't given long to adjust to life in the Premier League, with Manchester United selling him to Lyon for a potential £22 million in January 2017. The Dutchman has since rediscovered his shooting boots in France, but he can't come any higher than 7th in this video. Michael Owen. Whilst Alexis Sanchez and Memphis Depay are pretty obvious candidates for the number 7 shirt as significant marquee signings for the club, it perhaps wasn't as much of a formality with Michael Owen. Having been linked with the likes of Everton, Aston Villa and Hull City, Owen joined Manchester United on a pay-as-you-play deal that suited Sir Alex Ferguson down to the ground. Owen had just been relegated at Newcastle United, who was available on a free transfer, unlikely to be a regular starter, and he was a centre forward, so the number 7 shirt came as a surprise to some. Owen was obviously well past his best at United, with recurring muscle injuries having stripped him of the searing pace that once made him among the most feared forwards on earth. Nonetheless, his predatory instincts hadn't left him, and Owen scored some important goals for the club, not least his injury time winner in the Manchester derby. In total, Owen scored 17 goals in 52 games for the Red Devils across 3 seasons with the club, and I could only put him in either 6th or 5th place. Antonio Valencia. Before you massacre me in the comments section about Antonio Valencia being behind the man up next, I will remind you that I'm taking into account only the player's time in the number 7 shirt, and for Antonio Valencia, that was only the 2012-13 season. Had Valencia been Manchester United's number 7 for 4 or 5 years, or even just the 2011-12 or 2016-17 seasons, he would be further up this list. As it is, between 2012 and 2013, Valencia wasn't really at his best for the club. Valencia was offered the number 7 shirt by Alex Ferguson following Michael Owen's departure, and in Fergie's final season, Valencia and United lifted the Premier League title. Although he played a lot of football that season, 40 games in all competitions, it wasn't the Ecuadorian's finest season. He was beginning to look a little one-dimensional, and some felt it would be his final season with the club. As it happened, Valencia would spend another 6 years at Old Trafford, being converted to a right-back, but he also reverted back to the number 25 shirt for that transition. All things considered, I don't think I could put Valencia any higher than 5th based upon that single season. Angel Di Maria. There will be those who feel as though Angel Di Maria deserves to be behind Michael Owen, Antonio Valencia, and perhaps even Memphis Depay in these rankings, but I think people are far too quick to criticise Di Maria's time at Old Trafford. In the 2014-15 season, Di Maria recorded 11 assists, which was the 3rd most in the Premier League, in addition to scoring 3 goals. A solid case could be made, I believe, for Di Maria being the best outfield player at Old Trafford that season, and Di Maria wasn't all that bad is a hill that I'm more than willing to die on. Certainly, it is a better hill to die on than this one. Anyhow, despite his decent performances, Di Maria had been United's record signing, and the hope was that he'd be able to win games on his own. He couldn't, and after just a single season as the Red Devils' number 7, the club looked to cut their losses and sold him to PSG for £44 million. Di Maria played the fewest number of games for Manchester United of any number 7 during the Premier League era, and that surely counts against him, but he is a terrific player who was for a season at least a decent player for the club. It's not setting the bar too high, but I certainly think Di Maria played better for Manchester United than Alexis Sanchez or Memphis Depay. His struggles were just exaggerated due to his lofty price tag. Eric Cantona. The top 3 in this 7 come in head and shoulders above all the rest quite obviously, and the order of them is unquestionably going to be the biggest topic of debate in this 7. Starting in 3rd, an excellent case could be made for putting Eric Cantona top of this 7, and indeed, I suspect Sir Alex Ferguson would put him there himself. Ferguson often credited Cantona with being the man who elevated Manchester United into a championship-winning side, so he certainly scores highly in terms of importance. The Frenchman was Manchester United's first official number 7 when squad numbers came into effect in the 1993-94 season, with Brian Robson having worn the shirt for many years before that. Cantona only actually spent 4.5 seasons at Old Trafford, he only spent 4 seasons as the club's number 7, and when you throw in his ban for that kung fu kick at the Crystal Palace game, he only represented the team 185 times. For that reason primarily, along with the brilliance of the 2 players ahead of him, I had to put Cantona 3rd, but I have great sympathy with those who would disagree. During his 185 Manchester United appearances, Cantona scored 82 goals, becoming a cult hero and one of the most iconic number 7s of all time. Cristiano Ronaldo. In terms of peak ability and peak season, there is no doubt that Cristiano Ronaldo is Manchester United's best number 7 of the Premier League era, their best player of the Premier League era, and perhaps even their best player of all time. We are not dealing solely in terms of peak talent or seasons though, and for that reason, the Portuguese superstar has to settle for 2nd. Ronaldo joined Manchester United from Sporting Club de Portugal in 2003 after the club just missed out on the signing of Ronaldinho, and he immediately inherited the hallowed number 7 shirt. Ronaldo didn't immediately become a Manchester United great, still a teenager at the time, but his raw ability was always obvious to those within the United dressing room. Within a couple of seasons, Ronaldo was starting to become a much more complete and decisive footballer, twinning his natural ability with a first-class attitude and a desire to improve. By the 2006-07 season, Ronaldo was one of the best players on earth, and in the 2007-08 campaign, Ronaldo scored 42 goals in 49 games, a tally which saw him win his first Ballon d'Or. The 2008-09 season was Ronaldo's last at Old Trafford, and he left the club with 292 appearances, 118 goals, and 3 Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year awards to his name. David Beckham. Let me be absolutely clear. David Beckham was never as good as Cristiano Ronaldo was in that 2007-08 season in particular, when he could fairly be described as a force of nature. However, Beckham was incredibly important to Manchester United. He spent longer as the club's number 7, he played more games, and he didn't have a couple of seasons adjusting to life in the English game. Beckham made his Manchester United debut in the 1992-93 campaign, but he only hit double figures for appearances in the 1994-95 season. It was the following season, 95-96, in which Becks both became Manchester United's new number 7, replacing Eric Cantona, and also became one of the best midfielders in Europe. For the next 8 seasons, David Beckham was pure class for Manchester United, combining a tremendous work rate, awesome vision, and one of the best right foots the English game has ever seen. Beckham's image off the pitch may have been even greater than his talent on it, but he only became a global icon because he was a star man for one of the biggest football clubs on earth. In total, Beck's played 394 games for Manchester United, by far the most of any number 7 during the Premier League era. He scored 85 goals, and he registered at least 90 assists, of which we've decent records, and almost certainly a whole lot more. Cantona may have been the most important, and Ronaldo the most talented, but for a combination of talent, performances and longevity, I can't overlook David Beckham as Manchester United's greatest number 7 of the Premier League era. That's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Give us a like if you enjoyed it, let us know what you think in the comments, and as always, make sure that you are subscribed to HITC Sevens.